Hey folks, welcome back. We're going to be getting these finals going here in just a moment. This is the last best of 3 of the day and the last chance for one of these European players to qualify through to the European groups for the TING Open Season 3. Now keep in mind, the way we do our post invites is usually based off of results. It's not always and exclusively, but for example, we'll be looking back to players that got to the semifinals or the top 4 several times over. Oh, maybe he was vetoing that and messaged me mistakenly?
Oh, okay.
Let's leave that. Anyways, so I don't know who's going to be there for sure. But for example, right now it's pretty Zerg heavy. Even with only Snoot having qualified, if Nerchio qualifies through the losers bracket as well, that's 4 Zerg players for Europe. The chances of us inviting more Zerg back is very slim. But again, it's a little bit sad because we haven't had a huge diversity. Like, there hasn't been a lot of Liquid Bunny or Mana or Thermal or the other guys that we tend to expect to see. I just realized I named all of Team Liquid pretty much. The other non-Zerg race representation, I guess. Again, Hearthstone didn't even sign up for a single one of these, etc. So it's going to be hard to pick, but at the same time, it's a little bit more rewarding to the guys who did show up. That's why we do it.
Yep. That's why. It's going to be Paladin Terminal, actually.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, DnS wants this map.
The shudder you make almost sounds like a, I don't know, like a nervous cartoon rabbit, I guess. I don't know how to describe that.
Thanks for being so specific. Okay.
Oh, do you ever watch Honest trailers and stuff like that?
Sometimes.
Did you see they went and did one for Space Jam recently?
No.
I'm like, why are you honest reviewing Space Jam of all movies? But it was pretty good. I liked it. Of course, they hit pretty hard on the soundtrack, but
That's why they do that. The soundtrack's amazing.
well, I didn't realize as well until I seen this was how bad the product placement advertising in that movie was. Like, when I was a kid, I never noticed. I didn't care about hearing the mention of Pepsi or anything, right? Like, I'm just busy watching Michael Jordan play basketball with Bugs Bunny. Like,
I feel like I've never noticed product placement, except in 30 Rock when they made a joke about Snapple. And
that was
in
like
Friends. That was the point, yeah. In Friends, I would notice the lack of product placement because I've watched it so many times. They'd be eating a bag of Lay's and they'd scratch off like the A or something, so it was like Louise.
Well, product placement for me, I feel, when it is noticeable, it's usually done in such a poor and cringy way. I don't think about like, boy, I got that product on my mind the next time I'm out at the store.
Well, that too. But when someone mentions that they had a Pepsi, I don't think, oh, Pepsi must have paid a lot to have, you know.
But you know what? Said. At the same time, though, when you start talking about chicken, I immediately want chicken. So
that's true. Actually, I do notice cars in movies now. Ever since I heard about how much like they had to pay to get in Transformers because they wanted to be the car that was a Transformer.
See, I don't know types of cars though is my problem. Like every time I get an Uber and they're like, a white Toyota's coming, I'm like, what the fuck is a Toyota? Oh, like, I don't know.
For sure, I agree. But what I notice is like in a zombie apocalypse movie, they'll get this rather nice looking car for being in a zombie apocalypse movie, and I'll notice they'll still have like the name of the
Walking
car
Dead.
Too, you know?
Yeah,
exactly. And I'm like, okay, I get it.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are in game number 1 of the grand finals for the TING Season 3 European Qualifier number 2. Make sure to check out our sponsors over on bttv.ting.com. But without further ado, in the bottom right, we got the red Protoss player, DnS.
In the top left, as the blue Zerg, he is Nerchio.
Now, of course, it is worth reminding everybody that both players have come down from the winner's bracket, so we are in the loser's bracket finals. But that being said, I thought they both played really well. Nerchio's series versus Snoot was absolutely fantastic. One of the most favorite ZvZs I think I've had in a long time. DnS versus Snoot just now was, I think, going to go to Snoot, but it was an impressive game series versus Snoot.
Yeah. He held on very strong in the first game on Newkirk. The second game he held on so strong, he even made a comeback. And the third game, well, that was actually kind of lame, to be honest. But that will happen to anyone. So,
yeah.
What does DnS do against Nerchio, who I do think will be playing differently than Snoot?
DnS was pretty. He put some emphasis on the adepts in the early game, sure. Stargate openers to be certain, but Paladino Terminal's got this really weird front double choke point. I don't know if you can really rush out to Stargate here the same way you would on other maps. So his build may be influenced by the map more than anything else. Also, before we get too far into the game, we did miss 2 subs I'd like to shout out. Akajun3 or Akajun or aka June. Not sure how you want that pronounced, but that shotgun of pronunciations. One of them's got to be right. And then Dark Trin. Both brand new subs. Thank you guys for joining the channel.
Nice. Well, I do agree that this map is going to force both of them to play differently. I think Protoss has to take into consideration a bit more, but to be honest, Zerg isn't totally just like, you know, this is my map, it's going to be awesome, because they do have some things to consider, like chokes on the natural, something that force fields could block them out. If they take this third, this is something that we saw actually in the Team Like a Map contest. If you take the third like Nerchio did, it then kind of just, you know, leaves either your main and natural reinforcements up a ramp, up a, you know, potential ramp that can be force fielded, or it leaves your third base reinforcements down a ramp that can be force fielded or just taken out. So you can actually get kind of a few units stuck in one place or another. Also, as we watch this unfold, it's going to be a Dark Shrine. Look at the third base of Nerchio real quick. Does this not look like it's super zoomed in?
Oh, you're right. What is that just because of the ramp?
We think it's the textures, because the same thing will happen at the very top right base. Not that one, the one on the left of it. Yeah, that one. It also looks really zoomed in.
Yeah, it looks like the textures are just bigger, I guess. That's weird.
Yeah.
It's an interesting optical illusion.
It is. I was like freaking out, man, because I also zoomed out. Like,
what happens if I zoom in on it, though? Yeah, you know, actually, already it's a creep spread that looks less weird. Tilt shifting in StarCraft. But okay, so the Overlord's going to get a nice drop-off. Dark Shrine finishing up here in just a moment's time. Was that put in plain sight of the Overlords, by the way? He did see it. Okay, so it's not even a question of what's coming. This pylon was kind of a cute move to catch if anything was dropping back there, and yeah, obviously it kind of works. Overcharge hitting that Overlord, not quite gonna get it. It's just barely gonna get away.
Close. DnS does have his DTs going to the third base, which Nerchio does not have an Overseer at, or a Spore Crawler.
Ouch. The Overseer on the way now, but that's going to get a base kill. There's just no stopping that. So that's a pretty nice pick off there for DnS. And let's not forget, usually the point of this isn't the DTs. Usually the point is get some damage done with the DTs and then turn into Archons, and he's certainly gotten damage done with the DTs.
Yeah, that's actually really nice. It almost looked like Nerchio didn't mind losing that third base with how easily it was sniped, but no, he did not want to lose that third base.
Thank you, NothingMan32, for joining us for 23 months. The numbers kind of confused me. I'm not going to lie there for a moment, but thank you nonetheless. Overlord spewing out some creep over here is going to get pushed back eventually, but this is definitely annoying. It buys time. Meanwhile, down here to the south, Warp Prism does venture on back with those 2 Archons.
Archons, yeah, could be scary. The fact that both of them expanded initially to these bases, okay, is actually a little, as I was talking about, I couldn't really, we're going to have to wait for an engagement to really see why the third base can be a problem. I think what Nerchio was forced to do and taking the other third base is better for him.
If you remember, those third base fights were almost like terrible bait when we saw the map contest. You would get trapped inside. Like, it's actually like the sickest bait to have somebody attack into your third, because you just lock them into that third with the high ground.
Right. So I guess that's a better way of visualizing it and putting it as bait. But again, if we see engagements go down, I think it'll be a little more obvious, and there will be questions as to if that is the default third base rather. Let's see. Nerchio is still dedicated to these lings, and despite losing a third base, has very quickly, reestablished that one to the north, and it's almost 60 drones.
Well, Overlord pushed back. Still going to be a little annoying later. Warp Prism heads right back to the main, and DnS 2 balls in his court, if you would say, as 2 Archons going to deal a lot of damage. Transfuse is coming out of Nerchio, though, so it shouldn't be too bad. The emphasis here is on killing that Warp Prism more than the Archons, though. You get the Archons low, but yeah, then there's that 6 range pickup you got to deal with, so that's kind of annoying. Nicely positioned with the Overlord too, otherwise you wouldn't be able to see through that smoke. But one Hydralisk could actually knock down this Warp Prism.
Oh no!
Wow, it actually does too. It's just strand the Overlord, the Archons. That sucks.
Still manages to get a couple of the units in revenge. DnS does have his third up and running. He's getting charge +1. Second Robo on the way, but not really any Archons for High Templars. And Nerchio, well, Nerchio's getting a very strong Roach Hydra army. And is even taking on the rocks. Yeah. This looks a little weird when it's you have to take on these rocks because it's rocks into rocks, but it is a safer path than the very middle of the map, which is one.
This tiny ass little choke was a problem. I remember somebody put a pylon in there while we were testing it too, and it just like walled off the entire map. It's so stupid.
Yeah, that's how it went down. Lucien Phoenix is going to be scouting. I think in DNS's mind, he's specifically scouting for a Spire. That's of course you can scout for Lurker Den or a Hive. The other options.
Man, it'd be cool if you could hijack these ships on the side of the map.
What even are they on finished medevacs?
I think they're just Terran civilian ships, but they look like little, like if
like
Terran.
medevac wraiths.
No, you know what they look like to me? If Terran had like interceptors or something, like little fighter flyers.
I guess we have some pretty big interceptors.
I guess they're bigger.
Probably
but
worth more than
what I mean?
25 minerals.
I'm just talking about the design of the actual ship.
Okay.
Not scaling, because as we realize with the third bases, scaling on this map is weird.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the army to the north side just kind of cruising around for Nerchio. It's a good army to fight with. I don't think Nerchio's too worried just yet, but DNS proved to us before against Snoop, once he gets to that composition, like if he's able to mix in a couple of storms, if he's able to get his Archons and the Immortals to where he wants them to be, he can actually take really favorable fights where he shouldn't be able to.
That was dangerous by Nerchio.
Actually, if DNS realized, yeah, he could pounce on these Hydras right now. Force field in the middle.
What are they even doing there? They're getting AI'd hard.
Everybody is. Cool map, man. Really cool map. Great design.
He's trying to clean up a couple of depths up to the north, and that's what caused, I guess, all the trouble. But still no action quite yet. They're both very hesitant to take an engagement. I really wish, because of this, that DNS was trying to get to Storm. Like, if he's given this much time, instead of maxing out on a still pretty good army, including Storm in it as well, I think Storm is the better option, especially with all these chokes and ramps. But
yeah, against Hydras especially, I feel that's the case, but maybe once he finally realizes there's going to be banelings in play, that's where the priority sets in. Oh, speaking of banelings, well, actually, it's not banelings. Excuse me, there's Hydralisks loaded into this Overlord.
That's an odd drop, because they're not very effective against charge. Looks like they warped in. Or even really against cannons, because they die quickly. We'll see how it looks. 12 Lurkers are on the way, as well as banelings, Jibble hooks. Finally, DNS is adding in that Templar Archives.
That looks weird. Who's this? 7 months on that resub from I'm Sleepy. Thank you very much. I'm not sleepy, though. I'm actually wide awake.
I could be sleeping. I feel like, you know, sleeping is what eating is to other people. Well, actually, eating is eating to me, too. Like, I can eat at any time. I can sleep at any time. I'm actually just a cat. Super lazy.
I can't sleep at any time, but I can force myself to sleep if I got some NyQuil.
Oh, no. I can sleep, like, anytime. I wake up and I don't feel like going back to sleep. An hour later, I'll be like, no, actually, sleep sounds pretty good.
That sounds pretty bad, actually. Like unhealthy.
It's terrible,
bad. Like
it's really bad when you just are sleeping all the time, but that's the way it is.
Some of you have spent too much time with their cats.
I've become a cat. It's just so much easier, man. Like, a dog would try and wake me up, you know?
Paulo would only try and wake you up if he was hungry, right? That's the logic.
Well, Paulo wakes me up so he can get attention. Like, last night I woke up to watch GSL, and he was like, okay, so it's time to pay attention to me, right? And he just, like, walk over me, stick his head in my face, like... Oh, finally we have an engagement. So for a small map, it's been surprisingly passive. Oh, this could go really well for DNS.
Yeah, his force fields were keeping out a lot of the banelings, but then they finally break through. However, there's still Archons soaking the hits, so the Immortals are tearing through the Lurkers. Nerchio's going to have a better remax, and I think that's what's ultimately going to win the game. But this wasn't even that bad of a fight for DNS, but as we can see, it's a little too far gone. Probes pulled away, GGs get called, and Nerchio will take that first game in the series.
Yeah, you see that concave, you see 6 immortals, being like, this should be good, right? And then all the barriers disappear, and you're like, oh, well, I guess not.
I think if the banelings actually didn't get through to those immortals there at the very last moment, that would have been a much better fight for DnS, but a little bit hard to control. Very chaotic, a lot of damage going in a lot of different directions.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the final, so we're going to use this time and abuse this time for another quick commercial break, guys. Just 2 minutes. We'll be back with game number 2 when we return. All right, folks, come back from that break just in time to get into map number 2. Thank you kindly for watching the commercials. Helps us a ton. But as we get into the game, spawning here on the bottom left side, we've got the red Protoss on his last life, looking for that fighting chance. It's DnS.
In the bottom right is the blue Zerg. He is a Nerchio.
I'm trying to think of French words that start with S. It's not working.
I really can't think of it either, actually.
Like we already went with souffle, and I can't use it again. Well, my terrible anagrams will have to be put on hold. Because I thought, like, after the first try, I don't know how I didn't think about it, but derriere. Like, hello? Butts!
Hello? I know. Oh.
What's the French word for team?
Like, I would know.
Okay, I'm Googling French for team.
Some of my French classes.
Équipe derrière. Team butts.
Équipe? What?
That's my guess. I don't know. It's off Google, okay?
How's it spelled?
Like equip.
Ah. Okay. Maybe.
En français. So, by the way, just that quick reminder of a couple cool things going on. First off, you got IEM qualifiers happen all day today. Sadly, as we said, and we've been saying, Zombie and I don't plan to cover them. We get a lot of focus here on TING and the BTSL and our other own events, but BTSL, of course, if you guys don't already know, 3 a.m. later tonight. Mark it down on your calendars. Do what you need to do. Be here in 14 and a half hours for some really awesome monthly finals. $400 up for grabs over there. And, of course, lots of other good stuff going on. But I also do want to mention that we have been very grateful to our sponsors, Ting, making all this happen. Again, bttv.ting.com. You know the deal. But I also want to remind you guys about the Korean Team House stuff we got going on. Finally, now that GSL's finishing up, or I guess groups are starting to wrap up a bit, that WSG's finished up, Nation Wars is finished up, we finally have the players in the house with maybe some spare time to start doing some cool stuff for you guys. So I'm really hoping to, in February, roll out some tournaments for them, as well as have some more video content, which should be starting up this week too. So you guys can look forward to all of that.
The probe kind of looked like it wanted to do something more, but that would have been silly. Yeah, the house running is going to be pretty fun. DnS is going to be going for Stargates, and Nerchio is adding on fairly quick overload speed for Nerchio. Kind of think he's going to go for drops again.
Actually, I guess it's kind of a big deal that he's getting that Stargate, because DnS has done really well with it, but that last map really didn't seem like it would allow you to. Like, the layout of the map, the third being what it is, getting to those 3 bases seemed difficult, but I also want to remind everybody, beyond that, there's this element where Nerchio not only tilts, but loses to carriers, and this is a map I think you might be able to get to them on.
It's possible, that is sure, but I'm not sure that's what DnS is thinking about doing.
Oh, Snizzle, by the way. I don't know if they're currently watching.
Snizzle.
Walgren78 threw $90 into the Mega Tournament fundraiser, by the way. Says the first down payment for the awesomeness you provides Zombie Grub and Rifkin. Or is it Refkin? God damn it. So,
throwback.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's watching or not, but Walgren, if you are, thank you very much, dude. $90 towards that fundraiser is awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, Darius, you said Darius. Your nails.
Yeah, Darius, because you're an ass.
Ow. Good.
Worst admin ever, am I right? No, Darius is actually awesome. I love Darius, guys.
Well, Deb's going to take care of this little link for us. And Nerchio, he's adding on that evolution right now, certainly for +1, but Nerchio really isn't the type of guy to get fast overload speed for scouting. So I'm still waiting on the overload drops. There's quite a few overloads all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, the drops of the first game were, I'll say, semi-effective. Semi-effective? But honestly, I think that they can always be devastating to a Protoss player who's just not prepared for it. You can do a million things right, but if you aren't ready for that one drop, things can go chaotic real quick. But pushing across the map, we saw him do this earlier. 2 oracles, a lot of adepts, but every time we've seen it so far, it's flopped out pretty badly. So I don't know about this.
Yeah, he did against Snoot, and it wasn't too bad on this map, I think, but it still was taken care of. It's really supposed to get the queens, maybe the entire drone line if you're really good about it and they're really surprised, but no queens dying and not even really a Ling reaction, which is the least you gotta hope for. The Lings instead are gonna go for a counterattack, hoping those are the only adepts on the field, and he hasn't warped in defensively yet. He's too scared of the potent overcharges. Probably valid, but there were no adepts there, so it's potential. The Overlords are scouting now, so maybe he got the faster Overlord speed just for scouting. A little bit later than he researched it, but maybe he was really paranoid about carriers.
It's... we watched Nerchio take on Koreans in Nation Wars and knock out some of the best players in the world. And as good of a player as Nerchio is, though, he really does have that Achilles heel. So I think for him to be aware that that's a possibility, and if that, I wouldn't be surprised if like every bit of scouting was dedicated to some sign that, oh, look, there's a second Stargate, or oh, that's a fast fleet beacon, you know, things like this.
Usually get away without it, yeah. We get a lair on the way, and quite the Sim City. This looks great initially, but when Hydras come out, the gateways go down. It's a little more questionable, but that's still a long ways off. That lair does. It's not even halfway done. It doesn't wait.
There's someone in chat saying, is there going to be another BTTV event this year? I loved the last one. So if you haven't been keeping up to date with things, the Korean Team House is going to lead to one ginormous event, guaranteed. We have the TING Season 3 offline finals coming up, and possibly 2 other ones behind that. So that's 3 or 4 live events we'll be doing this year.
Has it really been 2 years since eligible time?
Technically, yeah. It's like 1.5 if you want to be more realistic, but yeah, about 2.
Yeah, I guess it was in August after all. But still, like, I keep thinking last summer was Hell of Time, but it was DreamHack Austin.
Yeah, we've had a lot of time to think about how to perfect the live events of things. And well, it's not going to be nearly the big blowout event. I'm just glad that we can still keep our events dedicated to StarCraft. Like, I wouldn't mind sharing with another game, right? But it's still, there's not many just StarCraft things out there for the fans anymore.
That is true. There hasn't.
By the way, oh, sorry, I was just going to mention, I don't know if we've advertised this. I know that we're not able to give you guys the location of the TING Season 3 finals yet, but I want to make sure everyone's aware that it's going to be free to enter. That's going to be probably one of the coolest things about it. It's like no ticket cost required. You can just literally show up if you got nothing better to do that day and come play, hang out for some StarCraft.
Yeah, because, you know, the only thing you guys exist for is watching BaseTradeTV, so
yeah.
You should have nothing else.
I just assumed that when the channel went offline, they all stopped existing until the next time we're live again.
Those are called viewbots.
Oh, okay.
Although even viewbots go to different channels, don't they?
I don't know how it works.
They'll stop existing.
They just view everything. They're omnipotent. Oh my god. Viewbots are bringing us closer to God, guys. Oh my goodness.
Closer to God.
This is why everyone hates them, because it's like heresy.
So I was going more along the path of, like, you know, they're gonna get smart and they're gonna take us over, like the 2 lovers.
They're going straight up Skynet on us, man.
Yeah, exactly. That I really wish I had watched the Twitch bot thing. I only got all the highlights on Twitter because they're pretty funny.
That was so insane because it had like 40,000 people watching that too.
Well, whenever Twitch puts something on, I think I've always heard good things.
Well, it wasn't really Twitch who did it though. It was some like random person. Twitch just like featured them because they're like, this is cool. This is crazy.
Oh, really? I thought it was like their Pokemon thing. But Twitch plays Pokemon.
No.
Oh, my bad.
All right, so we got a lot of Archons for this fight. Nerchio's not going to have an easy time busting down these doors. It's a big wall off of those gateways too, but the problem is the army is kind of like DNS's own army is kind of choked out by a Sim City.
Yeah, the Zealots, unfortunately, were tanking as opposed to the Archons. And there goes the gateways, like I mentioned. It's like a gradient initially. Okay, he's a lot of storms. Like that many storms can take on this army, but he lost a lot of production already.
Yeah, a lot of gateways going down kind of sucks, especially when you're floating 1,300 minerals. But he should be able to throw those down elsewhere, I feel. Now he's going to insist on going back to this wall.
Nerchio gonna go elsewhere, as he does not want to tango with High Templars. That catches the board race? Or something? I don't know what it was. Oh, Oracles.
Oracle, sorry, I was looking away for a sec. Yeah, the back door, the rocks are knocked down to try and keep this base safe, but unfortunately they are going to be torn down in a moment. He's going to catch some of the revealed, excuse me, army. Revelation, what a stupid word. Catch some of the revealed army in the middle of the map, but unfortunately, despite the fact that he saw these Hydras knock down the rocks, he's not in position for it. So this Nexus, it's so close to finishing, you don't want it to cancel it now.
Charge lots were scary enough for Nerchio to back off, but now he's got Lurkers. DNS has 6 Immortals, 3 Archons.
It's interesting, though, because DNS didn't go for air. I just want to point that out, too. Like, we put a lot of emphasis on like what could have killed Nerchio, and I think, honestly, going for this ground army, as good as it is, and his storms are skillful, and he's got stasis traps, and etc., I don't feel like this has as much chance of killing Nerchio as turtling to sky would have been.
Yeah, maybe. You know, you get to a certain point with Sky, absolutely, but up until that point...
Oh, well, he's thinking about it now. Double Star gets into Fleet Beacon start up, but it might be late? Lurker's already getting quite a bit of damage done, and the base has been broken, so third's going to fall down. That fourth doesn't have nearly enough up there mining just yet, but Nerchio is bleeding out some of the Hydras on the front line. Army supply a little bit better for Nerchio still as he continues to push forward. Bantley's get caught in that stasis trap. Nice stasis traps, I gotta say.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, but the High Templars are mostly out of juice here, and that's really what's been saving DNS. His third base goes down, the probes went down with it, and it looks like Nerchio has beaten him back. I think DNS was figuring Nerchio was going to start, you know, teching, going to the Hive. That's why he got the Stargates, but they were not helpful.
No. Psych. Well, more stasis traps going to get caught in lings, but unfortunately they're not catching the big units like the Lurkers and the Hydras. Nerchio's starting to over-dedicate maybe a little bit with some of this. There are observers out now, but at the same time, Nerchio's trading out just so much better on every way. And that income, I mean, I'm going to pull up the graph here. It's going to be blue. It's very blue.
Archons might just be enough. Nerchio is trying to reinforce. Oh, there comes, I think, another. No. Yeah. Yep, that's going to be the end of DNS. He's trapped. Oh, 4 charge lots. There are still Lurkers in place. Easy peasy. Slicey dicey.
Yeah, the Hydra's are just a little overwhelming. GG is good called, and not so surprisingly, ladies and gentlemen, Nerchio will be our second player qualified into the TING Season 3 group stage. Oh, it's going to make invites really tough, man. Like, this is all Zerg for Europe. Even Korea didn't get all Terran. Korea got 2 Protoss and 2 Terran. Europe's all Zerg, and with so few non-Zerg participants that came out to play, we might not actually have too much diversity in the European groups.
Maybe not, no.
Maybe not. But that will conclude the European qualifiers. So I think all we have left at this point is the North American qualifier and 2 of the wildcard qualifiers to determine who that whole round of 32 is going to look towards. But we'll be pushing these out over time and trying to get all the groups and stuff sorted ASAP. We'll have them posted. The dates we have posted right now are I guess tentative but not concrete, so we'll have the actual dates for the groups announced as we get a little bit closer. In actually, I guess probably I would say it's safe to say like the first week of February we should be able to announce the group dates for certain. But part of it was waiting to see who would get through, because we know some players are going to have limitations. Like, we don't want to try and assign a Korean group at the same day that 2 of the players are maybe playing GSL, you know? Like, we got to make sure that everyone's schedule is clear and good to go. But that's going to wrap up the cast for today. So again, congratulations to Snoot. Congratulations to Nerchio. Thank you guys for joining us on the stream today. Goddamn Zombie Crab, I still can't get over how cool your hair looks. This isn't even like a compliment where like, oh, you look so pretty or anything like that. Like, you look rad. Like, I'm expecting you to break out and like fucking dance or something, man. Like, throw down.
Man. It's gonna be awesome. I don't know. It's never gonna look like this way again. Like, if I could do this on purpose, do you think I already would?
This is where, you know what you do? You gotta go, since we're going to the 80s, you just gotta go buy some mousse. Some hair mousse.
I do have hairspray, but I still feel like I would fail trying to replicate this. So you take a picture and go to the, the hairstylist, be like this.
Yeah, go through the VOD of this cast, take some screenshots of like your camera. Anyways, all that stuff aside, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you had a good time. I really hope you'll check out our sponsors over on bttv.ting.com. They've got some really cool stuff over there, and of course, great deals if you're in the United States. We'll have video content for the next time, though. I was supposed to play the video ads for this one, but I forgot to download them, and things kind of... Again, if you guys didn't hear the story at the start of stream today, here's the cool story mode. Like, I thought these were 10 a.m. because I'm dumb, so I went to sleep and set my alarm for 10. If the homeless guy rifling through the bottles because it's garbage day wasn't making so much noise, I wouldn't have woken up in time for the cast. So shout out to that homeless guy saving esports. He doesn't even know it.
Yeah. Good job, homeless guy.
Good job, homeless guy. Someone did ask if we had done co-op for this week. We haven't yet. The Old Lunar New Year one is kind of interesting. Maybe we'll get that done tomorrow or something. But we have some meetings and stuff we got to go get taken care of. And of course, I got to get to Subway. I'm starving. So thank you, Not Dumb Inch, for the 14-month resub. Did somebody say Skynet? Mr. Destructoid. Yeah, pretty much. Zombie Grub, any final shout-outs before we go?
Follow me on Twitter at ZG Gaming. Thanks, guys.
Also, make sure to check out the Amazon links down below. Mr. Boris Makarov actually brought this up. It's kind of cool. Like, he's buying a bunch of new computer parts, and by doing it through the affiliate links, he actually ends up giving a good chunk of the money he's spending on the computer parts to Zombie Grub as well. So make sure to check those out. But consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure to check out our respective Patreons and Twitters and whatnot. Mine's, of course, at Riff_Kings. Follow the channel. Follow our YouTube, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. I think that's everything. So we're going to end the broadcast with a couple of minutes of ads. If you want to stick around and watch them, we would really appreciate it. Other than that, we'll find somebody to host. Have a great rest of your day. And like we said, in about probably 13 or 14 hours from now, we'll be back with the BTSL first ever monthly finals. So thanks again for watching, guys, and have a great day. Bye-bye.